Hi, this is the Kubeflow Notebooks meeting for the 3rd of April, 2025. It's KubeCon week, so probably a lot of people are away, but we're still doing a meeting for the people who are here, and we'll just go over some of the things. Of course, things have been happening, mainly around the release of the Manifest's 1.10 final cut, which for Kubeflow platform, which is right now the only way you can use Kubeflow notebooks, is not this manifest, but like the platform as a whole, because you require auth and stuff. This means that our latest version is released technically for V1. There wasn't many significant changes other than in the images themselves, like the example kind of PyTorch CUDA things. Other than that, so the next release, I hopefully will include some kind of version of V2, but we'll have to see. It depends on what kind of timeline we have. We'll also be moving the code out of the Kubeflow/Kubeflow repo as part of that change soon, because now that we've cut the release there, we can do that. And so there'll be two new repos, one called Kubeflow/dashboard, one called Kubeflow notebooks, which obviously everyone's familiar with, but it will also include a V1 branch as well. There's some debate as to whether we should use main or V1, but we can have that debate later. There's one thing is that since we did migrate all the images to GitHub Container Registry, I will also note that it seems like Docker Hub did slightly walk back what they were planning. Like if we just look, just interestingly, they didn't fully walk it back, but it's now 100 per, not 10. But again, this still doesn't help that much if you're on a huge NAT with a lot of other people. So anyway, I still think it's good that we've standardized as a project on the Kubeflow GitHub Container Registry, because we were all on different ones before. It was a bit crazy. I think we can discuss in the future what other options mean. And we did migrate the old tags as well, thanks to Andy, meaning so all the final release tags for the old images are now still present. If we go to the Kubeflow, go to packages, and then we pick ones that are for the Kubeflow/Kubeflow. So these are for pipelines, but if we pick one for Kubeflow, like Central Dashboard, you'll see that it has actually got the old tags as well that we pushed. They're in a strange order because of the way they were pushed, but the 10 is there, but also even older ones than that, because we even migrated back in the day to, this was a backup kind of one that has like V4 and stuff like that too. So, yep, other than that, there is one thing we need to update on the website, which is that we did update it's pretty much just a copy and paste situation from the Kubeflow repo, because these still reference the old ones. So I already updated this page is pretty similar to the one in the Kubeflow repo. So we can probably just copy and paste that mostly. It's still markdown. You see, I updated these ones because now otherwise users won't know that. And since they're all backed up as well, the old tags, it's useful still for users. Although again, I'm still a bit annoyed that because we did the migration before releasing the final 110, it thinks that this is the latest one, which is annoying. But anyway, okay. So other than that, so we're still working on Notebooks 2.0. Obviously, if you don't know what that is, search it up. There is a Notebooks 2.0. There's the FAQ on this page. We did update it recently for the KubeCon people to see. If you have particular questions, please ask them on there. Or if you want to get involved, obviously, let's do that now. So I don't want to talk about this right now, but I did raise a thing to add secret support for the workspaces. Someone had some comments, but we'll come back to that later. The one thing I do want to highlight though is that we still need now we're going to need a new UI at some point, which is for managing secrets, both in the flow when you create the workspace, but also to see existing secrets that have been created in the namespace in a tab view. Obviously, there's some debate around security and how to do that nicely, but in the same way that we'll have a volumes tab, which probably will be moved into the workspace's UI, backend and UI, and we'll also hopefully have a secrets one now as well. So just to heads up to the UI people and whatnot. So do you have anything anyone specifically needs to call out before we kind of go to the stand-up and planning for what we're actually going to do? We'll try and do the stand-up and then go to planning, I guess. Anyone? If not, then I guess let's start with you. Do we have Andy on here? Or maybe let's let Andy go first because he did something really big. So
Yeah, no, it was good. Matthew, thank you, because I don't have the administrative powers to actually run the stuff. So Matthew kindly gave me a Sunday code review on the script. As we said, the ordering that images got pushed was unfortunate, but that stuff did get moved over. So all that stuff is there. That's a public repository on my GitHub account. Link to that is in the Kubeflow Notebook Slack channel if anybody has any interest. But I don't really have any plans on fixing it, but if there's a need, I can certainly clean up some of the usability issues that Matthew ran into. I've been reviewing Al's PR around Tilt and the developer guide. I think in general, that looks good. We don't need to rabbit hole on this, but Matthew, I wasn't sure. The instructions there are fine. I got stuff running. Al was very, very helpful in that. But I don't know if we like, so it basically talks about getting Tilt up, and I can see Tilt is up and things are there. But do we want to include one more section in the guide to like do something other than just bring the services up, right? Because it's like, yay, things are running, but I feel like maybe and sorry, Al, I didn't mention this yesterday, but I feel like we should probably have some sort of trivial use case, even if it's just like querying for status or like exercising the API in some way, so you're interacting with the, kind of like Tilt kind environment that you set up. So we can talk about that in Slack, but I feel like there should probably be like an activity versus just seeing green check marks in Tilt. But we could also just merge that PR as is, because it does get things up in a stable environment. So, I don't know how we want to handle that PR in general, but the information that is there, I'm very comfortable with. And I asked a bunch of dumb questions, and I can confirm we're in a good state there.
Anyway, we'll review that today, I guess, or someone, maybe, I don't know who has time to look at it today, but I'll see if what it is. It's for the controller, not the backend. So any kind of testing would need to be just applying the sample the sample workspace kind and workspace, maybe. Although some of those, yeah, I mean, you could probably do that. Yeah, we'll have to think about what that means. I don't know if it needs to be in the developer guide, but maybe just something to check that it is up, actually. I don't know what that would be, because obviously if Tilt thinks it's up, it doesn't necessarily mean that the container isn't problematic. I don't know, maybe getting logs or something. We'll have to see.
Yep, I'll start a thread in Slack, and we can talk about, like, I think a lot of that we can handle asynchronously. So
is there anything else you would want to see in that developer guide? So anyway, let's we can talk about that in a specific review of that. So anything else you've been working on?
No, and so now kind of in terms of next steps, if the GHA action stuff, Matthew, I'm happy to pick that up if we feel like that's in a state. And I know I've been talking with Eder about looking at and helping take some of his load off on some of the things he's been looking at. That's not immediately actionable, but at least I'll start, spinning wheels on getting ramped up there.
Yeah, so for the actions, I assume you're talking about the fact that we have to first off migrate the dashboard code to the new repo, and then there won't be any release actions or anything there. And so then we're going to have to debate whether we release into the old images, but that's a separate discussion. I don't know. We'll have to think about that. Okay. Yeah, and since the dashboard there's not that many images, so it's not going to be as big of a question, I think. But we have to think. So yeah, if that you're going to actually, well, you won't be able to work on that until we've done the migration. So do you have time next week to do that, or is it kind of?
Yeah, I should. Yeah, I should be like pretty good to start devoting time here. So yeah, let me know. We can talk. Just message me in Slack or point me to whatever, and when we're ready, I can help in whatever capacity.
Yeah, so I think some of that stuff probably requires org admins to do things. So we will need to wait until at least people are back from KubeCon probably. So we'll probably be able to do that on Monday or something, but so we need to actually do the migration of code and remove the code from Kubeflow, and also probably reference other things. But anyway, so if that's what you want to work on, is there anything else?
Like I said, other than that, it's just now that I have this local development environment set up, taking that, talking with Eder, and figuring out some of this, API stuff. So that's just ramping up for myself. So then hopefully in the next week or two, I can start to confidently volunteer for more Go-related activities as needed.
I think this is a nice plan, and we start doing the HEPO migration, all three together, just to make sure that the community is in a safe place for other, and then we can hand over for your work for the backend as well, and I can onboard you on that.
Sounds good. Other than that, I'm good. If anything else comes up, let me know. I should have some cycles even in this week, but certainly next week as well.
Cool. Okay, Eder, what were you working on?
Yeah, not much this week, unfortunately, for notebooks.o. But I'm working on this analysis of feature gaps, make sure that we are talking about discussing if a notebook should will be standalone or not. Probably Matthew and I are going to present a summary in a few weeks from the community of what our vision for this. And another thing that I did this week is like I created this together with the WEX team from Red Hat, this user survey that probably after KubeCon people will start to promote this together with the release. And we're going to start this user survey for model registry, but we also gathering leads for people to discuss about Notebook.o on future. That's why we need to do our vision method before doing this, but to pitch the UX from Red Hat to ask the right questions for users. But basically, we can put UX people to work on Notebook.o.
Cool. Awesome. Also, someone just did a request to edit the doc. Please just join the Kubeflow Discuss mailing list so that you can comment and suggest edits rather than don't request access directly. So you have to be in the Kubeflow Discuss Google group on the account that you see at the top right of your screen. Sorry. Cool. To be able to comment and edit. Okay, cool. Editor. So next week, I guess you'll be doing that. The conference thing. Anything else?
No, just this. Yeah, I'll be out next week, just to let everyone know.
Cool. Yeah, also, yeah, we'll talk about GTalk later as well. So Paulo?
Hello. Yeah, I've continued to work on the creation UI. I've implemented the pod config step, which is the second PR on that list, I think. And also the first one was to extract the left column filter that I implemented for the labels. So we can use in multiple steps, like we want to use on the image and pod config steps. And I also added a Webpack plugin to improve our front end build to break to actually break for TypeScript errors. We were missing some there, which were happening only on runtime. So now the build should break if we have type errors in the code.
Cool.
And also make it easier for us to fix the warnings as well.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, and what sort of are you blocked by anything?
No, I'm not blocked by anything. Jenny did some UI review, so I'll be working to change some components, like adding a drawer on the wizard drawer, the same as we have for the workspace details. So we can see the images and pod config and kind details inside the drawer instead of in the mixed with the card list. So it's to keep the experience coherent there between the screens.
So you
and
mean
I'm also working.
You mean like there's a constant piece on the side or something, or?
Yeah, it's already constant, but I'll just change the component so it doesn't go together with the card list as it is now.
Okay, interesting. Well, sure, we'll see what that looks like. Okay, and what are you going to be? Is that what you're going to be working on next?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do next, and I'm also working with Heather on identifying the gaps between 1.0 and 2.0.
Okay, cool, awesome. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Cool, Jenny.
Thank you.
Yes. Hello. So I'm working with Paolo on the workspace creation PR review. So I've been reviewing his work there and yeah, just making good progress on the steps that are coming into that workspace creation wizard. So yeah, leaving some feedback, left some feedback, and yeah, what he mentioned there about the drawers, what's next, and one of those enhancements that he'll make. And yeah, we'll be doing that as a separate ticket or as a separate like PR. I've also opened several tickets for UI enhancement that I've just noticed throughout the repo that could be fixed just from a Patternfly UX perspective. There's some issues with spacing and padding and alignment that should be fixed. So I've opened up tickets for that, and we'll be working on that and within the next sprint as well. And yeah, just continuing to review PRs and provide front end insights and expertise. So yeah, please tag me or feel free to ask questions if there's anything I can do to assist. And yeah, that's it for me.
Cool. have we got mockups for things yet? I mean, like for the workspace kind view, or are we just going to start trying to build that out of the thing? I know there was a PR, but
There was a discussion on the CNCF Slack that we discussed a few points, and then Liav opened a PR that has a video on it.
is that a video or is that actually, does it do something? Oh no, what does it do?
Oh, it's the implementation itself, but there is a recording showing what he has done.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I guess that's probably something we should do a basic review of, Jenny or someone, I guess, as well. Because so that we can have the, I don't know if it's, we don't need to, just, tomorrow or whatever, just like whenever we get time. Because I think that we should try and have all the pages if we can. And then we can start adding one for secrets and one for things, even if it's just mocked information, just so that, I don't know.
Sorry, just reviewing this PR specifically?
I don't know if it's this one specifically. Because we're adding a new page here, right? So anytime we're adding a new page, of course there'll be discussion, but as soon as we've got a page, hopefully we can have multiple people work on it. Then I don't know, but it's I don't know if you get time to look at it. I don't know what's actually blocking this. Does anyone know what's blocking this? Polo, I guess you've done some review here.
Yeah, Liav added the update on the document, but I did a review and he's changing some stuff, so
okay, cool.
I can review again.
Awesome. So I
did the review based on what Liav, Jenny, and I discussed on Slack. So
is that this discussion here? Oh, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the PR. The discussion is on Slack. It's not linked there, I think.
So is this a pull request or an issue?
This is the issue, probably.
Oh, that's an issue. Okay. Okay, cool. Anyway, Lev said he had to drop, so I don't know if anyone knows exactly what he's working on here. Oh, Jenny, sorry. Do you have anything else you want to? So, what are you going to be working on next? I guess. Sorry.
So I'll be working on those, yeah, thank you. Just working on those UI enhancements and putting up PRs to fix those issues. And yeah, just continuing to do PR reviews and help the team out if there's any questions or there's any more PRs that are going up for that implement new Patternfly components. And oh, there's also theming as well, as Paolo continues to add new functionality to the workspace creation wizard and the additional screens that are going into.
Have you and I guess you haven't been trying to actually run it. You've just kind of been doing the UI, or how have you been testing UI stuff out of interest?
Oh, yeah, I'm running everything locally and yeah, building everything. So everything is running locally.
Just on the front end only, though, not connected to the back end, I assume.
Yeah, however, so I guess however we just pull it down and run currently just on localhost. Sorry.
Yeah, it's mocked on the front end, Matthew. This is something that we should work on the next round.
Yeah, because that's just something. Yeah. That's kind of important. We need to think about like a way to actually, because even the mocks on the front end aren't perfectly similar to the back end, you know? So it's just kind of, yeah. Okay, cool. That's cool. Anything else? No? Yes?
That's it. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, Liev, obviously he's not here right now, but if someone is aware of what he was working on, maybe they could quickly just say.
Yeah, it is the workspace kinds view that we were just talking about, the PR. He's implementing the changes I asked during the review, and it will be ready soon.
Cool, awesome. And that's obviously a new workspace kind view for the so that obviously this is one of the most, I just want to highlight again, this is one of the most important pages because admins are going to be encouraged not to use GitOps to manage their workspace kinds, but rather to use this UI. We might provide a CLI or something as well, but because it's going to be so stateful and dependent on things like, oh, I want to pull the latest versions of the official images from upstream, or I want to, because the reason it's stateful is because you can't, it's all about updating existing workspace kinds with new images and removing old ones, but you can't do that if the cluster state isn't correct. You know, you can't remove a workspace kind option, but like pod config option that's being used and things like that. So the UI will need to deal with a lot of stuff like, the most obvious use case in the beginning is just adding a new workspace kind, downloading, either uploading a whole YAML file or clicking maybe, and we can maybe link them to the official list of reference ones. And then it will be also updating a new kind, and updating a new kind does not mean, it's a bit more like, oh, adding an option or changing an option or editing a config. And probably will, for some users who are gonna be used to being able to use their own images, we'll probably have to link them from the creation flow to say, oh, if you're an admin on the cluster, click here to add a new image, and then we'll link them over to the corresponding workspaces kind update field or something. I don't know. And there's another random idea I had, which was like some kind of system to say merge the workspace kinds with the upstream reference versions that have been updated. So say when we release a new version for like 110, 111, whatever, they will already have workspace kinds for Jupyter and VS Code and everything that if they're using the reference ones, and maybe we could say get latest images from upstream, you know, a button like that or something. But that's UI discussion, but just wanted to highlight that. So Andy's already gone. Okay. Who, this person, Hen? Are they here? Maybe? Maybe?
I don't think she's here.
Oh, they left. Yeah, they just left the call. Okay. Does
But
anyone know?
she's working on the properties step of the creation wizard. I gave her some feedback already for some local development, and she should open a PR soon for it.
Interesting. Yeah, definitely. Around the volumes, we definitely need to think about what that means. Also, the secrets now are being added as well. So, like how we deal with inflow creation and updating and things like that.
Yeah, this is part of the thing that I'm working Paulo method for to map what we need to build on those wise, and also to have a call probably between us three and anyone else that to be interesting for us to go in details of what type of thing that we should create in line, which new wise that we, for instance, secrets you should create in line volumes as well. We do this in Red Hat version to allow on the wizard you can attach a existing one or create a new one on the spot. So this type of flow to make sure that we have this ability in the community. But my suggestion would be to map, because I don't know if you have on the backlog for us to discuss the secrets why already wrote there. Did you wrote there already?
No, we haven't really listed it anywhere, no.
Yeah, we should at least.
So there's both the secrets tab, but there's also like you want to be able to create a new secret in the flow. We still have to deal with
no. I don't know if you should. I mean we should discuss this stuff. Volumes is super useful.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you have to, because like that's the problem with secrets is the way that they're implemented, just for technical reasons, is that you have to mount a whole secret as a folder on your file system. You can't mount them as an environment variable or anything. And so users are often going to want to either have their admin create a external secret or something that pulls from a secret store, or they're going to say when they spawn a notebook, oh, I need to have a database credential in here, but I don't want to store it on the, on the home directory. So I'm going to click a button to say, oh, add a credential. But how do we prevent them just constantly creating hundreds of new secrets with the same thing? Like obviously we need to show them the existing ones, but yeah, like
this is something that I think you should do separately with some visuals, because it'll be a long discussion.
Well, I guess there's the question as to whether we also have some like special notebook specific secret tag which highlights them in some way, or because like the database credentials will be similar for a team probably that's using different notebooks in the same namespace, right? So I don't know. The problem is there's also the fact that they're going to be able to see all secrets in the namespace as well. So I don't know. Yeah, we have to think about if there's like a label they need to have to be able to be mounted if they already exist or something like that. That seems like a logical idea, but we would need to implement that in the back end. But the actual controller won't care. Like I don't think the controller should care about such a thing.
No. This is about Y flows. Yeah.
Yeah. And because users hopefully will never be able to edit the actual workspace themselves, so they shouldn't be able to inject their own things. So yeah, cool. That's good to know. So what was the status here, Paulo? You said you were talking to this person?
Yeah, she's implementing the UI. I gave some early feedback on a local development. She's making some changes.
Do we have like a mock-up or something? Or
no, not at the moment.
Cool. Okay, we'll just see what happens. Okay. Other people, Hashad.
Yeah, from my side, didn't get a lot of cycles last week, so I'll trying to get some priority next week to work on a few of these things.
So yeah, I think the one I don't know what else. There's the two main ones. I think I don't know if you were working on the virtual service thing, or I did also see obviously the status one I linked it in this to this issue because it's not related to this issue, but it's just this PR is changing the same code, but there's still the same problem present, which is
Right, I saw your
honestly, yeah.
comment yesterday, so I'll go through that.
This code, it's not going through it, but the code is, I'm a little bit, so like, I think if the code is going to remain as we originally wrote it, for the generating of like the state of the workspace, meaning like, is it running, is it happy, what's wrong with it if it's wrong? I think we need to put a lot of tests because there's so much like ordering happening in the state. Like, we start by assuming like it's there. So, but the problem is there's so many edge cases that are very hard to create. Like some of them are easy, like, okay, making sure that if you specify an image that doesn't exist, that it fails with the reason the image doesn't exist or something. But like,
Right.
A lot of issues kind of cascade onto each other in ways that are really complicated. But like, I'll just show people, it's a Go code. I won't show them actually too much, but if like you go to the actual code here, if someone has an idea, maybe even Hashad, when you're touching this code about how we can make this more testable,
Absolutely.
like, so when we do, this is the function, generate workspace state. So this is generating the state field. There's two fields returned from it, like a message that says what's happening, and then a categorical running, failed, like running, error, pending, things like that. And so like you can kind of see that we kind of nest. The first thing we do is check if the pod is nil, and then we have a whole flow. And then if the pod's not nil, we have a whole flow. But if you order it in any other way, I'm assuming that we've ordered it correctly as well. That we first check is it running, and then when it's running, we don't do the later checks, things like that. So the ordering is so dependent. Yeah, if Kubernetes changes something, right? Like the ordering might become wrong, right? This is my slight concern. So probably testing is critical there. And it's specifically testing, not that it says it's failed or errored. It's more like that it actually gives the right reason for the error.
Well, okay. Yeah, so look into this. I'll keep this in mind, and
this probably has to be on integration tests. It probably can't be on unit tests as well.
Yeah.
Because integration tests are the only ones that actually run pods, and pods related errors are some of the most painful ones. There was also a discussion around requeuing, but we can talk about that in the issue itself. Okay. So Hashad, will you work on that, or is there another thing you wanted to work on first?
No, I think I'll start with the status one only and then go from there.
Creating a PR for update capturing non-main container states in workspace status. State. I think it's statuses. I don't even remember. Okay, cool. Awesome. And yeah, that other issue we'll merge that soon, I think. Okay, and there will be a backend task as well based off that secrets one to do the secrets, but I think we should, this one which adds the secret things that I was working on.
Right.
We probably, I don't know if you want to do it or if someone else does, but we'll need to add backend things, but I think we need to talk to the front end. I mean, it's pretty obvious that they're going to need us. Actually, no, it's actually, I think I listed it. It's actually a really hard problem. I just want to highlight this problem is actually really hard.
From the UI to specify how to add the secret?
No, so I added these steps here, like allow mounting secrets on workspaces. The problem is that step 2 is really complicated. The reason being that on any cluster of sufficient size, it is very dangerous, not for like security reasons, but for performance reasons, to try and use controller runtime to interact with secret resources. Because once you do that, it tries to cache all secrets in the cluster onto the controller. Which in this case, it's not a controller, this is the backend, but we are using the controller runtime's internal client. And the reason for that is so that we get caching for the other resources. But caching secrets causes problems. So in my experience from external secrets and other places, there's a couple of options, but we need to think about what that is. And if we're doing things like what we said, Eder, about looking into keys or not, then you can just look at the presence of secrets by just looking at their metadata, which means you don't need to cache the whole thing, which is fine. Even millions of secret metadata is usually fine. But I avoided also supporting any key specific mounts initially. It's only the whole secret or nothing. So that's a debate that we can change very easily. That one's practical to change. It's just I didn't do it because but yeah, like this is just something to think about, Eder. Like, you know, because right now the atomic mount is like a whole secret in Kubernetes, like which means multiple keys in the secret are mounted as multiple files. But I also, the reason I didn't do it actually with items just for reference is because I thought it made the UI, it would make the UI really complicated to make and do initially. But it means that there'll be a disconnect, which is the user will create a secret, but they will be creating a bunch or editing a secret where they'll be editing at the key level, but in a secret resource, and then that secret whole resource is the thing mounted. You know, so for example, let's say I wanted to add a database credential. In my experience, it normally does make sense to make a username and password field, right? So that is two separate things. They do combine together in a very atomic way, but like it means that you'll enter username, that, password, that, and then now there's a username file and a password file in that secret. So I don't know, just to think about how the UI, everyone who's thinking about UIs, what that might look like. I don't know.
And in terms of caching, you mean like because the controller will try to gather all the secrets in a particular namespace? That's the
No, so what happens is as soon as you on this is really good reference for everyone, is the first time you do a get or a list on any resource kind in the controller and the backend for this project, because we're both using the controller runtime cached client, it will immediately do a list of all of them in the whole cluster across all namespaces. No namespace restriction. And then from that point forward, it doesn't do any more lists. It does a watch. It just watches that list, a thing for any updates. So then it receives all updates as very efficiently. And then whenever you actually are in the controller making a request, it doesn't request to the cluster at all. It just pulls from its internal cache, which means the cache could be stale by a few milliseconds, just to be very clear. Or more in some cases. But the problem with secrets is that secrets can be really, really big. They can be multiple megabytes each. And when there's millions of them in a cluster, that's gigabytes or more of information that will need to be listed and brought into memory into the controller or backend. So the backend, the controller doesn't deal with secrets at all. And and that's also why how we avoid the problem there, but we don't, anyway, come back to that. Anyway, I just wanted to highlight this. So from a UI perspective, let's let the UI drive the backend. But right now, obviously, the UI is just this. The backend API is just this for when you create a workspace, just adding them out. But you'll also need probably secret paths like under, you know, /workspaces, /secrets, and then we'll need ones that let the front end get a list of secrets, and then probably we need to think about the labeling thing, and then also creating a new secret as well, and updating an existing secret as well. Sorry, we'll need to do those as well. Those will be posts and stuff for the front end. Cool. Anyone else? Yes. Anyone else? Oh, sorry, yes.
Yeah, just a quick question on this secrets behavior, Matthew, with the controller. Is this written up in an issue like code? Like, where could I go to understand this more? Like,
which
on my
one?
own
Sorry.
to kind of the very important warning point that you have. Like, is there?
This is honestly an area which most projects, even incredibly large projects, have not solved. So like, I solved it in external secrets recently. Most controllers do not interact with secrets because that is
Okay. They just like, literally just avoids the problem is where it's at. Okay.
It's very rare that projects interact with secrets just for the nature that they're intentionally not really meant to be interacted with by anything but pods. And only things that actually manage secrets, like external secrets. And then Cert Manager also has this problem. They have not fixed the problem perfectly in their stack. At least when I last looked at it, they were debating still what to do exactly. But yeah, there's many possible solutions. But we, in our particular case, unless we are very prescriptive, it is valid that we could do this to say we have a label that is for specific secrets, you know, and that only those secrets are seen. But the problem is still, I think it's confusing for the backend to not truthfully return the list of secrets in the namespace, even if some of those secrets are like, because I would imagine that in the tab for the secrets view, we would have a tab, we would have a thing which says this secret is not currently allowed to be mounted to workspaces, but click this button to add the flag which makes it allowed, right? So that means that the backend still needs to return that secret with the flag saying allowed false. You know what I mean? But like it says an admin needs to be able to click add it. So that means the problem is the backend still needs to list it. So, so it's not difficult to solve as long as we're not dealing with the my preference is disable the list wash cache for all secrets. Make this an option probably. so that users can change it if they know that they don't have lots of secrets, because it will reduce API load. And then for any secrets which we need to regularly work with, we could make a partial cache, and we can also, which is this is the solution I did for external secrets, but we'll have to see if that makes sense or not. But for initially, we'll just have to disable it. Anyway, okay, who else? Any stand-ups that we've missed, people? Someone posted a big photo. What is this?
I posted a big photo that I will delete as soon as it's a shout out for everyone in the team that on the Kubeflow Summit presentation, they give a slide for our work and put on the roadmap. What's super cool is a result of the work that we are doing.
Yeah, I think I sent the FAQ link I posted up here to them, and I think they linked it in their slides. But obviously, I don't know how the slides. I think they would have called it out. I didn't see the talk.
If it was really small, I need my glasses. But on the top of tracking issue, and there is our issue there.
That is that. Yeah. So whenever people ask about Kubeflow notebooks, I try and point them towards this issue 85 on /notebooks, because it just with a basic FAQ. It's once we have more, we'll have a website page at some point. But initially, this is just saying like, oh yeah, this is what we're doing. This is why we're doing it. Here's how you can contribute. Why we did it. And of course, yeah, there's a design doc, but for most people, they're not going to read that. But it's just that it exists.
So just congrats for everyone. There's a great result of the work that we're doing.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thank you. Okay. Did we miss anyone who? I know we missed one person who's new. This person. Hello. Yes. Andrina. How do you say your name? Sorry. Andrinda. Adrid. And yeah, I can see them in the chat.
Sorry, it's Andriana.
Andriana. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you're muted. Okay, so have you are you looking for tasks or?
Yeah, basically, I know about Kubernetes, Go, Dockers, and this kind of stuff. So just now I was looking for a good first issue under the Git repository. So yes, I would like to start with something.
So are you working on it as part of your job or just personally for fun or?
As part of my job, actually, I am a colleague from with Harshad, Andy, and Paolo, and yeah.
So yeah, there's if you're a Go person, that's really useful. There's well, one of the, if you just want a really basic one, I literally just raised an issue yesterday, which is which you should be able to easily do, which is I pretty much just taking the code that I did in external secrets and moving it into here to just make the retry pattern less aggressive, because the retry pattern of failures on the controller is very aggressive in the default controller runtime. It's that red line, and this is time, and this is fail number. Like you can see that the first few are literally tenths of milliseconds ahead of each other, which is insane. And we can debate the specific backoff time, but I think it's reasonable for us to use the same pattern we did on the external secrets. The reason being, in the future, we'll probably have kubevert related things, and spam retrying on VM actions is probably bad. So maybe if you're interested in making a pull request, this could be a good thing. It's also very interesting as well. Like there's it's quite an interesting problem that faces probably every controller runtime project, and maybe they should update the defaults. But
great, I will take a look on this.
Yeah, so that's an issue here. I'll link it for you. At changing error retry back off pattern on workspace controller. Cool. Yeah, and I think that's a good way to get involved with the controller code as well, because you'll see it. Anything? So yeah, will you have time next week or?
Yeah, I think I will have some time to take a look on this. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. It doesn't need to be done immediately. It's just because it just needs to be done before the release, obviously. That's all. Yeah. Awesome. Is there anything else? Do you want to say hi? Anything else like so you work at Red Hat, presumably?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Anyone else we've missed for the stand-up? Otherwise, oh, we didn't talk about GSOC. Is anyone from GSOC here? I forgot to ask. Maybe not. So yeah, GSOC's deadline is next week. So we haven't got a specific Notebooks 2.0 project this time. We do have something under our control though that I'm still debating the extent to which I want to be involved in it, but I do think we as in the Notebooks working group, which does for historical reasons own the central dashboard. There is a half-finished Angular rewrite, and I know Angular is not React, so that's unfortunate. But I don't think I don't think a lot of the contributors to the project are incentivized to fix the dashboard or change the dashboard because most distributions use their own dashboard. The existing dashboard does need to go away. It's written in Polymer, and that framework hasn't been supported in many years. We probably can't get above Node 16, which is incredibly old. The Angular one is largely almost finished. There is there, I linked it here. I'm just getting it. The person who was working on it last did list out what they had done, but we have progressed the front end on this existing central dashboard for a bit, so there is a bit of work here. If someone happens to be an Angular dev and have an interest in helping finish this, or maybe alternatively, if we can find people who are interested in making the central dashboard, I don't think it's likely, but in React, I think because we've already got it mostly ready in the Angular, I think we probably should just finish that. But we were thinking about accepting a student, if a good one applies, to do that. I posted in the Slacks to encourage them to apply if they happen to have Angular experience on this. If someone wants to help mentor that as well, we could do that. Anyone have any thoughts here? So what I'm saying is, effectively, we have a rewrite in progress. We want to finish it. So that we can stop using the old one. And the goal is just to be parity with it. No changes with the existing one, just in a different framework. Other than that, there's also the group support, which we definitely need to do. But that obviously can be done on, the problem is we have to do it on both the existing and new dashboard, but it doesn't really matter that much. Okay, any thoughts there? If not, then we can move on. Cool. Awesome. Okay. Anything else anyone wants to talk about before we go? Cool. Okay, I'll stop the recording. Thanks for coming, guys. Awesome to have so many people involved.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Have a good week.
Thank you all.